For Cindy and I, 30 is knocking on our door, but we're not quite ready to answer. It feels like the less we use our bodies, save our money, or learn something new, the harder it becomes. But we are ready to make a change and live our lives to the fullest. Join us in our chat for striving to be our best, healthy, wealthy, and happy selves by the time we reach the big 3-0.
Hello.
Hello, Cindy.
How are you doing, Chanel?
I'm good. How are you?
You know, you ask me this all the time, and every single time you ask, my brain goes empty.
Empty.
I've been going through, I feel like a dissociative episode recently. I'm not even kidding. I was sitting at work, and I'm like, is this real life?
It's real life.
And I'm just like, I would not be surprised if I turned around, I was like breaking the fourth wall, and the camera was looking at me. Like, I've never seen Fleabag before, but I've seen TikToks of Fleabag, and that's what I was feeling like my life has been like.
Watch it. It's a good show.
I would assume it is. I feel like it's like a cult classic. One of the things I really need to do is expand my viewing. I'm trying to get more into like consuming like media that's not just like social media.
Yeah.
And movies, like, you know, I've been watching a lot of movies, and I want to get into TV shows as well, but older TV shows. I think I'm pretty caught up with but I'm more on track with the newer shows, but the old classics,
Missing out.
I'm missing out. But yeah, it's one of my goals in life, because as you know, I've joined your club because you're
My
old.
club.
Yeah, you're old. And I
What year were you born?
that doesn't matter.
Yeah,
It
that's
doesn't
what I
matter.
thought.
It
That's
doesn't-
what I
it doesn't
thought.
matter.
That's what I thought.
But anyway, I recently had a birthday. We're now the same age, and that means we're one step closer to 30.
Oh, I thought you were going to say one step closer to death.
No. 30. We got to hit 30 first. 30 first.
Hopefully.
And then 40, then 50. We don't start talking about death until like we're 75.
Jeez.
At 75, and if we're 75 still doing this podcast, I hope you're looking at me being like, death's next. And I look at you.
Yeah, let's die.
Not let's die. No. It's just like, that's our next stage. That's our next step.
The next stage.
But anyway, now that I'm 28.
Wow.
Yes, now that I'm 28, and I'm sure people now can do the math to figure out what year I was born. Whatever. Yeah. Now that I'm 28, I've been thinking more about what 30 is going to look like. We're going to be turning 30 in 2026. Yes. So it's one of those things where getting to 30 is such a, I guess, big deal in society. It's supposedly the end of your youth, when everybody knows that 30 is not, but it's a really big milestone to be out of your 20s and like your teens and your 20s with school, debt, and like your 30s is supposed to be when you're getting it together,
when you're thriving,
right? But I feel like there's things that I still want to be able to accomplish by the time I hit 30. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Yeah, there's definitely some things that I want to get done, or like on the track to,
right,
by the time I'm 30,
right?
You know, and we normally do a lot of planning together. You know, we're book club aficionados.
We're just planners.
So we go over what books we're reading. We go over our goals in life. We
finances.
go over what's going on in our life, the finances, everything, as a group, as a unit.
Yep.
And so that helps us like stay on track and like keep looking forward, but also living in the present at the same time. And so we typically look at, for our goals, we normally look at health, wealth, and then hobby.
Yeah. Or miscellaneous, whatever. But health, wealth, hobby, I think, are the main ones.
Yes. And I was starting to work on my goals for 2025, okay?
I haven't even thought about it.
I added a new category.
What's your new category?
I feel like we should have a lifestyle category.
Okay, what would be lifestyle, though?
So the reason why I created the new category is because I was trying to put something in my goals that wasn't fitting into health, wealth, or hobby.
So the miscellaneous section.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that miscellaneous was, like where I want to live in the future.
Oh.
You feel me?
Yeah,
and so that's kind of like lifestyle
That's
instead
fair.
of, it's not my health.
Yeah.
It's not me trying to save up money for something. It's like not a hobby.
Right.
It's my life. So that's why I
Right.
just called it lifestyle. I was Googling and all that crap.
That's actually smart, because that question has been coming up, not necessarily like where are you going to live, but with work, what's your 5-year career goal? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Or
Yeah.
as some people have asked me, where do you see yourself in 30 years?
30.
You only have 30 minutes?
30 years.
Crazy. But I realized that since my entire life has been school, my 5-year goals has always been to be done with school. That now that I'm here, I don't know where I want to be in my career. I don't even know where I want to live. If you asked me 5 years ago, I think, what was it? At this point, 5 years I was in grad school. But like, let's just say before grad school, I would have never believed you if you said I was going to live in Texas. And I would have never believed you if you said I was going to live in California.
Yep.
So I've gone on vibes my entire life, and I've reached a stage where you can't really go on vibes because there's no end. There isn't really an end to your job unless you quit or you get fired.
Yep.
And we're not the type of people to get fired. We're the type of people to quit. But if we get complacent, we're going to be just stuck in the same place forever.
Yep.
So I think it's really smart that you have a lifestyle goal. Mm-hmm. I need to figure mine out. But maybe me listening to you tell me what your lifestyle goals are will help me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my
So what do you have on your lifestyle goals, or what things have you done so far?
Like I said, I'm still working on it. So it's still a work in progress, because trying to figure out what you want to do in the future is so hard.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like trying to imagine a stranger
Yeah.
and where that stranger is going to be and what you
Yeah.
want that stranger to be. And so it just feels so foreign and like far in the future that you're like, I don't know.
Right.
But, we recently had an election. We don't need to get into that.
Please no.
But
Please no.
We know that-
all I want to say is 92%.
the 92%.
That's all I got to say.
And we
92%.
won't say anything else.
Nope.
But we know that life here in America is a little bit more unstable
A little bit
than we
rockier.
were led to believe when we were children, at least.
Oh, 100%.
And so I want to be in a place where I have the flexibility to travel and like live where I want to live.
Mm-hmm.
And recently we did go visit Canada. We went to
Yes.
Montreal, California.
Montreal, California.
Montreal, California, my favorite place. No.
Montreal,
Canada.
Yep. And New York, New York.
Yes. And New York. And in both of those places, actually, they're very walkable. And
100%.
That's what I feel like I'm missing in my life.
Yeah.
I want a walkable city. I feel like a walkable city. Number one, you walk around,
Yes.
which we need that for health.
Yes.
And then number two, it's just like, it's easier to get around and like be out and about and
Yeah.
interact with other humans than just my life now in Southern California is just get in the car, drive to this place, get in
Yeah.
the car, drive to that place, get in the car, drive to this place.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think in my lifestyle goals, I want to find a walkable place to live.
Yes.
And so will that be abroad? Will that be here in the United States? I do not know.
Right.
But that is definitely something that I've been thinking about. And I actually had a 5-year goal that I made at the beginning of this year.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I wrote out a whole list for like what my 5-year plan or whatever. Some of that doesn't apply. Some of that stuff
Anymore.
I already finished, and I was like,
Nice.
but one of the things I put on that list, about a year ago at this point, was to move to a foreign country or like do foreign travel at the very
Yeah.
least. So that's something on my lifestyle goal that I'm considering.
Hey, you know my dream. And we've talked about it. You're going to laugh at me. And people also are going to laugh. I want to be a nomad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to flap those wings all over the world.
Well, I mean, to your point about how you said even in your 5-year goals you want to travel more, it makes me think more when people are asking me where do I see myself, it makes me think of like what did I want as a kid.
Yeah.
And I'm an engineer. I'm in the STEM field, but when I was younger, I really wanted to be a diplomat or I just wanted to be able to travel with my job, and based off of whatever 14-year-old research you could do, the first thing that came up was diplomat, because I like the idea of being able to live in a place for a couple of years and then just up and moving somewhere else, because I love experiencing cultures. I love eating new foods. I love meeting new people. I love the idea of learning new languages, which is funny given the fact that my job, I don't do none of that. In my field, I do none of that. But I think I can second your idea of, or your lifestyle goal of travel. One of the biggest things with respect to travel is I've always wanted to go to Japan.
Ooh.
And it's one of the things that we're doing actually in our 30th year. Technically in 2026, we're going to be going to
Put it in the
Japan.
group chat. Hey.
I mean, it's been in the group chat,
It
and
has.
we've actually been like legitimately talking about it and legitimately making plans and working on creating a budget to make sure it works. We're going. At least I'm gonna go.
I remember what you said. You said, I don't care what happens.
Yeah.
If you come, if you don't, I'm going to Japan in 2026.
See, so the reason why I say that is because I have depended on other people to make the trip, and I think I've been bailed on 3 times at this stage on going to Japan. 3 separate occasions. I had a group that was supposed to go with me. And it was one of them was they wanted to go in the spring. They weren't in school. I was still in grad school. I was like, I can't go in the spring. The spring is like a big time, especially because I think the spring was when I was supposed to be defending. I can't go in the spring.
Yes.
I was supposed to go with another group of friends for a graduation trip. I was the only one who graduated.
Oh, God.
And then even before that, in undergrad, I went to Korea. And we've talked about that. Maybe. I don't know.
No.
We didn't.
We talked about that.
We've talked about it. But the listeners have never heard of my crazy adventures in Korea. I'll save that for another podcast.
One day.
And the girl I went with, we were supposed to go to Japan another year, but then we didn't realize, like, she was starting her first job post-grad, and I was in grad school. We didn't realize how much time that was going to take. And I also didn't realize how little money I was going to have.
Ooh.
So that's how that kind of ended. But one of the things that I want to try to do before I hit 30 is to take that trip. Like, that's something that I told to myself, not necessarily writing it down, but I said to myself, you need to be in Japan. You need to go to Japan before you like hit 31. Right. And so the fact that we're doing it in 2026, or I'm going to do it regardless in 2026, means that I'll be able to accomplish that goal.
Yeah. The way we made it to Montreal and New York, I have every belief and possibility we're making it to Japan.
Us going to Montreal and New York made me realize that plans can actually follow through, and or more so me, because I'm the person who's very idealistic, whereas like I like to throw out a lot of ideas and I want to do a lot of stuff, but when it comes time to like book those flights and I look at that price and I don't necessarily have all the money right yet, because I'm trying to plan a trip to go to London next year.
Yeah.
And I already have a time, like I already have dates. I've already confirmed dates with a friend that's already in London. I already found the flights that I want, but I looked at those prices and I was like, yikes. So I have more faith in us as a group than I do in myself. But regardless, because I've said it enough out loud and I don't want to be publicly shamed, I'm even saying it on this podcast, I need to be able to come back to this podcast after 2026 and be like, hey, I was in Japan. If not, everyone's going to call me a liar. And rightfully so.
Rightfully so.
Right? So, but back to your whole lifestyle thing. I like that idea of putting down where I want to go and live, and maybe even adding the locations I want to travel to, and putting when.
Yeah.
Because there's so many places to go and there's so many places to see. And it'd be nice to see like where things align and overlap. The fact we both want to go to Japan.
Yep.
We want to explore a little bit more of Europe. Traveling with people is more fun than traveling by yourself, and the safety aspect. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to be mindful of the lifestyle. And I mean, if you're going to bring it to 2025 for our goals,
period,
we're going to be talking about it anyway.
But yeah. And then I don't have any other lifestyle goals, but I feel like the lifestyle category is based around like creating what you want in the future when it comes to like how you live your life. So for example, like you were saying, for both of us, we've always had that North Star of like, get the degrees.
Yeah.
Once you finish a degree, get another degree.
And then maybe do it a third time.
whatever. That was always the North Star. And then after all that, it's get the job. And,
Yeah.
we got the job. And so back in the day, at least for our parents, most likely, definitely, it's okay, now you want to get married and now you want to have kids and now you want to, save for retirement, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever the path is.
Right.
And so we don't really have that because we're just living in a different world.
It's a
where things
completely
are
different world. I feel like I would say that neither one of us, that's really where our mind is at. But even if it was, this is not the society that can be best cultivate, like that can cultivate healthy children.
Yeah.
If I'm
healthy
if I'm being
families.
well, just from the idea of the fact that in America we're dealing with, I don't want to get too political, but like shootings in schools.
Oh yeah.
So at that point, right, to ensure that your child is safe, it'd probably be best to homeschool to ensure that they're not in that
Yep.
environment. But then if you're homeschooling your child, that could hurt them like in the developmental stages because they're not able to interact. Or we both have STEM careers. Like we didn't go to school and get all these degrees just to stay home and raise children.
Yeah.
So then at that point, it's like, where are you going to put your kids? Are you going to go and take them to someone's house? Do you trust them? Like you're putting them in a dangerous environment. There's just so many different things. And then as well, when you have a child, that kind of limits your ability to travel.
Yeah.
Because taking a small person
and anything
places,
for yourself, a lot of that stuff gets pushed to the wayside until your kids are old enough. And then on top of that, we even have like a higher level where people are just questioning what's the point of having kids in general, like or like philosophy wise.
Okay. Yeah.
Kind of saying like, okay, if I bring a child into existence and I know that this world isn't perfect and I know we have the threat of climate change and whatever else could happen to that child, is that morally good? Is it morally bad?
Right.
Question mark, question mark, question
There's
mark.
so many questions.
And so that's even added on another layer that our parents didn't even consider.
Right.
You didn't even consider, you just had children because that's what you were supposed to do. And so now that we don't have like the goals, like it's basically kind of like the American dream.
Right.
The American dream, it's to the wayside. So now what do we do? Where do we go?
Yeah.
Because a majority of our life has just been following what other people tell us to do.
Right.
And so I'm like, I got to think of what are we going to do? Like, what's the point of life?
Right. It's trying to navigate what makes you happy. I think that's
Yeah.
the point, at least for me. What will make me feel good about waking up in the morning and taking on another day?
Yeah.
So,
And I know for me, that's definitely like hobbies.
yes.
And then, which goes back into the health, wealth, hobbies, and now lifestyle.
And now,
New category. Ooh, DLC. So now that's why I'm kind of like focusing on those categories and trying to be the best human that I can be.
Yeah.
And like be the happiest that I can be.
right.
And I know you and me, we've been thinking about how do we glow up? So that's what it is,
It is,
girl.
yeah.
It's a glow
It's a glow up. Yeah. We have talked about that, especially again. I really, my entire life was school, literally before.
Same.
Like last year.
Same.
So in school, you don't really have the opportunity or like the time to glow up. I know there was some people who seemingly had their stuff together.
I feel like most of the STEM majors, though, we were just in corners crying.
Right. So now that I'm in this stage where I see people who didn't necessarily go and put all their time into education, they put more of their time into 5 years, right? They had 5 years to kind of figure out their life and kind of take the time to find their own style. One of the things that I'm trying to do right now is up my wardrobe, which is really difficult because I really love a good graphic tee and jeans. But like I need to find a way to find a graphic tee and jean and make it classy.
Elevated.
So one of the things that we did, and one of the things that I'm trying to take into account, is we did a color analysis where not one of those. I know that a lot of people end up flying to Korea and they have the professionals. We just use a filter, online filter, and put a picture of our face in natural lighting. And I learned a lot of things about myself. I think you're probably gonna remember this better than me, but I think I'm a warm spring.
Yeah, you're a warm spring.
And I'm a warm spring. I don't have black in my palette. I should not be wearing black.
Yeah.
And another thing is I should be wearing gold jewelry. So if you just look at me, you can see that I'm doing everything against what works for me.
Yes. And I just want to, take the time to say, when I found this quiz, I did it. I think I was a warm autumn.
I just know that you had colors that I wanted. That's all I remember.
I think I'm a warm autumn. So when I did this, I sent it to Cindy and she did it. And we were like, huh? But then the second we started taking colors from your palette and finding pictures of you in that color,
yeah,
namely the dissertation photo that you had.
Yeah, the blazer. My blazer was like a
warm coral,
pink. Yeah.
Very warm spring vibes. You look 5,000 times better. And then we found other photos of you in black, which is every other photo.
Yeah.
And you looked washed out, dead, on the ground.
Yeah.
Garbage, throw her out.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And then the fact that your glasses right now are like silver.
Yeah. Well,
all your jewelry
all
silver.
my jewelry is silver, because I personally thought, well, I will say I've taken a couple of these quizzes before and I've gotten silver sometimes, or I've gotten, I can do both. So I ended up going for silver because gold jewelry is more expensive. And pretty much I would ask, I was like, what looks good? And I'm sure people have sold me before. I think the gold is slightly better, but you can do silver. So it's not, I feel like if I started wearing brighter clothing, because even in those photos with the brighter clothing, I still had silver jewelry.
Yes.
It's just that the clothing did a lot. Helped. Right? So I feel like the jewelry is okay. It's more so the clothing.
Yeah.
It's like you got to layer it. Because I could have brighter hair and a darker shirt, but because the hair around my face is lighter, I look brighter.
Yes.
Right? It's all a game. I'm playing a game.
Yes.
I'm currently losing, but I'm playing a game because I'm in denial. You
Yes.
see my closet.
Yes.
It's black.
She wants to wear black.
I like black.
It don't like you.
I like it. It don't matter. It don't matter. It can be a one-sided love affair.
See, but each season is supposed to have their own black. I think you are the one it's not black, it's brown or something like that. Like because each season's supposed to have a red that works for them. Each season's supposed to have a black that works for them.
You said
those
season,
kinds of things.
and I thought you were talking about podcast season.
No.
What?
What?
I'm like, every season has a black. We're both black.
You're spring.
Yes.
I'm autumn. There's
Yes.
seasons,
Every
color
season has a
seasons.
black, but my black is a dark brown, so it's not a black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a very dark brown.
And when we were looking into clothes that had the dark brown, because I could get behind a dark brown.
Yeah.
A lot of these dark browns are too expensive. And I think that's where it came to the whole leveling up. It's so funny. I'm very quick to spend my money on food, but I have an aversion to spending my money on anything else. Like, if you want to ask me to get a meal, I'm 10 toes down. I'm going to go buy that meal. If you're going to ask me to, I don't know, Cindy, you should go to the doctor, check out your tooth. I'm like, is it really necessary?
You're getting an inhaler. We were like, Cindy, please.
That wasn't even money. That was just laziness. Which we can get into as well, into the leveling up. But yeah, that's one of the things that I'm trying to do is working on the clothes. And it's a little bit harder because I'm a little bit adverse to buying clothing, just because it's like things can change. Sometimes things will fit better at certain points versus other. And I'm like, I don't want to invest time into going to do it because I hate clothes shopping. Because it's just so disheartening to go and find something that you like, put it on, and then it just doesn't look good.
And can we talk about sizing real quick?
Yeah.
And the way that skinny's back in. Moment of silence. Ain't nothing wrong with being skinny.
It's not, but
society trying to force us all to be skinny.
Yeah,
is not
the lack of inclusion when it comes to clothing is very difficult, especially because I've looked into it before. The average size of an American woman, I think, is a 12, 14.
Yeah.
But then most of the stores will only hold from 0 to 10. So majority of women in America are unable to find clothing that fits them.
And they're wondering why the malls are dying.
Right? Because at the same time, stores don't carry the clothing that's of the higher or at larger sizes or curvy. They're all straight sizes. I learned something recently that a 2X and an XXL are different because an XXL is for the straight size model versus the 2X is for a curvy set model.
Yes.
And you don't get 1X, 2X, 3X in the store. You can only get them online.
Yep.
Which blows me. But that's what's making it difficult for me to want to go out and get new clothes and dress myself.
Yeah.
It's just that I see things that I like, and then I go and I'm like, oh, it's expensive, and then I don't know if it's gonna fit, and so I just move on.
It's really hard to not be in the status quo.
Yeah.
And like Newton's law, whichever law, the one where it's like objects in motion stay in
always
motion.
stay in motion. I think it's
Objects at rest stay at rest.
Yeah.
Inertia. Whichever one. It's
Right.
one of the three.
Right.
Or something. I passed physics classes. Anyways, so it's really hard to get off of the path.
Yeah.
And like for me, I recently got into my health, and so I'm actually paying out of pocket for a direct primary care physician because insurance is it's a scam.
Right.
Okay, health insurance is a scam, and they really just they grind my gears. And when you meet with your primary care physician, you only meet for like 30 minutes once a year, maybe if you can get an appointment. And so I just got a direct primary care physician. I get to see them whenever I want, basically. And so I went to them and they looked over my tests, my labs that another doctor looked over. The other doctor was like, yeah, you're fine. This doctor looked at it and she's like, no, you have a history of diabetes in your family and this number is too close for comfort.
Yeah.
And so basically she essentially diagnosed me with like pre diabetes. She's like, you're close to pre-diabetic. So
Right.
I'm like, pre? Okay.
Yeah.
So from that moment, I was like, okay, I'm glad I actually took the time to look at my health. And this is a wake-up call for me to start making changes.
Isn't that kind of scary though?
It is.
The fact that you went to a doctor.
It is.
And that they looked at your results and they said
Fine.
you're fine.
You're fine.
And then you go to somebody else. This is why they always say you need to get a second opinion, which sucks. Because you never know when it's time to get a second opinion.
Nope.
Right?
And can you wait 3 to 6 months for an appointment to get a second opinion? Can you afford to pay out of pocket like I am to get a second appointment?
Yeah. It's just, it makes things very, very difficult, which is so unfortunate because people are going and you could have easily been navigating your life and like slowly descending into becoming diabetic.
And then when do they catch it? When I'm already past the threshold, and
you
it's a lot
probably
harder?
when you're past the threshold, because that's when you start to feel different,
symptoms and all that,
right?
Yeah.
And what's the point of coming in and getting a checkup if they're going to be looking at your results and not? I digress.
And not actually doing their job.
Anyway,
You know?
you've encouraged me you've encouraged me to find a direct primary care physician. The only issue is where I'm at currently, like my current location, there's none by me. I have to cross a bridge and pay a toll to get to one. And I think the person that I found was like bringing direct primary care physicians to the Bay Area. So I think this is just like a new concept for the area. So I might just be before my time here, but I'm trying to go to the doctors, and now that I know what to look for based off talking to you, I'll be able to, because they give you your lab results. I'd always tell doctors that I'm a scientist, and they're like, when I last time got my my labs done, they're like, oh, do you want to go through the numbers? And I'm like, yeah, because I want to see.
Yes.
Because I want to form my own conclusions. But anyway, what are things that you're trying to do though, now that you know that you're pre-diabetic? And how does that relate to bring it back to our topic? How does this relate to, like glowing up?
Yeah, glowing up is hard.
I
think
is.
That's the message here,
It's
because
it's so difficult.
all the things I have to do. Number one, I have to take medication, and that's supposed to, reverse some of those. Like I think your insulin or whatever gets a certain way when you're pre-diabetic, whatever.
Yeah.
So I have to take medication daily. And then I also have to eat right. And the thing that the way to eat that she told me was to use the plate method. And so for the plate method, you're supposed to, the key points, you're supposed to eat, for me, about 20 to 30 grams of protein with every meal.
Okay.
And then you have 3 meals. For breakfast, you have whatever your plate is, you have half protein, half carbs. For lunch, you have half vegetables, 1/4 protein, 1/4 carbs. And then for dinner, this is the kicker.
This is
Everything was reasonable. For dinner, you have no carbs.
Yeah.
And you have 1/4 protein and 3/4 vegetables.
Yes.
You see, it's insane.
It's
It's insane.
Yeah.
So far I have been following it. Okay. And I've been doing my darndest, but it's hard
It is
because
really hard.
nobody eats like this.
No.
Like literally nobody told us to eat like this. I've never heard anything like this before for eating. And so when I'm trying to cook at home, I'm like 3/4 vegetables. What the hell is that? Salad?
Right.
Salad. And now I hate salads.
Yep.
Am I just gonna cook one vegetable and that's gonna be my plate? I hate that too.
Right.
And so it's like, how am I supposed to get all my veggies? Oh, let me go out to eat. No,
You can't.
Psych. There's really nothing you can do to get the proper amount of veggies that you're supposed to have in a day. Especially if you go out to eat.
Everything's with carbs. Like I can go through
Everything
like a
has
burger,
carbs.
pasta like Italian, carbs.
Carbs.
If you want to get like Vietnamese food, we were talking about getting pho.
Yep.
Carbs. Korean barbecue comes with rice.
Yep.
Well, Korean barbecue actually is fine.
Korean barbecue, you could swing it.
You could swing it, but it's just
It's a hassle.
it's a hassle, and then you get more limited, right?
And
Because-
even then, like even the sides for vegetables, those are tiny sides.
Tiny
or if you get the
sides.
salad, that's okay, I'm gonna eat some salad, but like, do I
Right.
just want some leaves?
yeah. Or I went for my birthday. I went out to get a steak, and it was supposed to be a steak with veggies. They gave me potatoes,
Which is technically a vegetable,
but it's
a carb. Yes.
So even doing that, like even trying to be mindful and like try to play to, I was going to add, I'm saying, I'm trying to do this plate method with Chanel in solidarity.
She's my
In solidarity.
She said, I'm going to do it too. I'm like, okay.
Well, because it's good for you, right?
It is.
Ultimately good for you. And I also have a history of like, I have like a medical history on both sides of my family. So it's not, it's not wrong or not weird for me to want to try to make sure that I am on track.
Yep.
Like you're mentioning, it's difficult to go meet a doctor. I have an appointment set up, but it's going to be in a couple months. So I want to try to be proactive rather than reactive.
Yeah.
Given our conversations. But yes, I'm trying to do this plate method with Chanel.
Whew.
And like she said, breakfast is my favorite meal of the day.
Yeah.
It's so easy to do breakfast.
Yeah.
Because I love me a pancake and egg. I love me some pancakes and eggs. I love me some toast with some sausage. You know, it's very easy to do breakfast. Lunch is also easy because it's like, okay,
I can get a little bit of everything.
I can get a little bit of everything.
Heavy
Lunch
on the
is my
vegetables.
favorite meal of the day.
Yeah.
Favorite meal of the
Yeah.
day. But dinner is very hard because
Brutal.
I'm so used to eating so much. And then it's because it's so much in the sense of like density, but eating just salads or leaves or vegetables just gets so
And I keep
repetitive.
looking for recipes and stuff. I did find like there was like a egg roll in a bowl. That thing kind of looked good, but like other than that, it's so hard to find even recipes for these things because nobody eats like this.
right. Oh, I just thought of one. You could do hot pot
Yes, hot pot,
like at home.
good option.
Yeah.
I instantly started thinking about the stuff that I could still have going out to eat, like In-N-Out. In-N-Out order still works.
Protein
I
style.
ordered protein
Yeah.
style, but you know, even
You could do
with
poke.
that, poke I've been having as well, but yeah, there's not many options. Not
And
many
it makes it harder for cooking at home too.
as well
Because
yeah.
you're trying to fill the plate and then again trying to rotate through meats because I don't really cook meats outside of chicken. Even my sausage is a chicken sausage.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm getting really tired of chicken because days if I don't want to have any meat, I'll do a pasta because it's really filling. But now I'm forced to have
Yep.
that protein over and over and over.
over and over and over.
But yeah.
again.
Anyway, we're so good at getting off topic.
You know, a similar vibes.
Yeah, similar vibes.
On topic but off.
It's true. But with the have you been seeing results though with the new eating or like have you
Yes,
tips and tricks?
I have. Last time I weighed myself, I already lost 7 pounds, and this is in the span of like 3 weeks.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
And I will say I feel better. Overall, I think it was one of those things where I wanted to quit after 2 days.
Instantly.
But I was talking to you on the phone. I was like, it's crazy because I feel good.
Yeah.
Like I don't like the fact that I feel good because now I have to keep doing it. and
Oh,
I'm now
like,
I'm
it never ends.
it never ends. And I feel like now I'm at a state of normal, but I know that if I start to go back, I'm going to feel bad. Because you can tell when you feel bad. You can tell when you feel like not, what is it, lethargic and like
Yep.
kind of like, I want to say sloshy, but
Sloshy. I know.
You know what I
love
mean?
English because you could just say anything, and I'm like, I know exactly what you mean.
But I know that's going to come, and when I start doing that again, but I just miss, is even us trying to figure out what we want to have for dinner tonight, right?
Yeah.
We went through so many things,
We're like,
so
can't
many
eat that,
restaurants,
can't eat this, can't eat that.
and I just
It's brutal.
trying to be good.
And I think that's the issue. Like, a lot of people don't glow up. Like, glowing up is just like, oh my gosh, did you see this person? They did XYZ and now they look amazing.
Yeah.
Whatever. That's just hard. You
It is
gotta
hard.
put in work, and it has to be every day for a stranger in the future.
Right. I think with the glow ups too, the misconception that social media gives is a lot of influencers have a backlog of content. So you don't really see the glow. You don't see the progress
Until it's there.
The only progress that I really see is the fitness influencers. But a lot of the fitness influencers that come on my page, they're already in shape.
Yeah.
So like I'm scrolling and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, how come you've been doing this for 3 years?
You want to know how I built this dumpy? Like, girl, let me see the progress.
Right?
They're like, I already did it.
Right? So I feel like that's also the other issue when it comes to glowing up. It feels like it should take. I should be in my best shape in 3 weeks.
Tomorrow.
Right?
Oh, that's always the thing.
Right?
This is how I lost 50,000 pounds in 2 seconds.
Right? But it takes time. And I think that's the part that's hard because there's a lot of what is it? Not determination, but like discipline. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of discipline in it. And discipline is difficult to have, especially when you're trying to balance so many other things. And it's so much easier to give up.
Yeah.
Than it is
and
to
stay at that status quo.
Than it is to continue.
Than to continue.
And that's what I'm personally struggling with the idea of glowing up, where it's like I know where I want to be by 2026. I know how I want to look. I know how I want to feel. I know where I want to be in my fitness goals. But 2 years, even though it's like a short amount of time, it's a long time to be doing something every single day. Like we've been doing or eating to this new method or like this new diet, whatever. I don't like the word
plate
diet.
method.
The plate method. Eating like in this way
Yeah.
for a month. It feels like it's been forever.
Yeah. I feel like my entire way of even thinking about how to eat has changed. Because now I would never plan what I was eating.
Yeah.
I never would plan it. Like
Yep.
you at least would plan your lunches and things like that.
Yep.
Me, I was purely on. I work from home. I was purely on vibes.
Yeah.
And so having to like actually think ahead and like build habits, I'm like, okay, every morning I have yogurt, so I have to make sure I go to the store and get yogurt
Yep.
and all that stuff. It's like you really have to change your life, your
Yep.
lifestyle, your habits to become a new person. And you know, they tell you that,
Right.
but when you're actually doing it, you're like, damn.
Right. It's really a double-edged sword because the point that I said or I mentioned earlier is that I want to be able to live a life where I wake up and I want to live the life. Like I want to go and I'm happy to do it. But doing all this planning doesn't make me happy.
Right.
I'm just like, I don't want to do it. I want to be able to eat what I want.
It's a trade-off.
when I want.
It's a trade-off. 'Cause,
Right?
You know, if you eat whatever you want, you know, in a part of your mind, you're happy, you're good, but then your health's going to decline.
Right. And then at that point,
And then
you're not
going to be happy.
Yeah.
And so it's like this trade-off. So now you got to be on top of everything. And some days, girl, this last Sunday, I slept. I did not get out of bed.
Well, of course. Yeah.
I was like, I need to, and I feel like every day I'm like, dang, I have to work, I have to do this, I have to do all these things I don't want to do. So sometimes you just need a day to like rot.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, that's the whole thing about balance. You can't be on it 24/7. That's not healthy. You need to rest and recharge your body. But I'm saying I want it to be the rest and recharging that one day every once in a while. That should be the day that I have to be healthy.
They're gonna
Yeah.
say,
I feel like that's also a part of getting older as well. Because, when we were younger, I was a vacuum as a kid.
Really?
Oh, I mean, you see how I eat now?
You can't
eat.
Goddamn.
Just imagine it worse when I'm like growing,
Oh yeah.
right? And then I was a stick. My favorite thing was I've been seeing a lot of the TikToks of people who are like suspect wanted, and one person was like built like a cinnamon stick. that was me.
you.
And I could just eat whatever I want. But they do say, but when you hit 25, your metabolism starts to slow down.
Things start to get real.
Right? And so it's just one of those things you have to be more mindful of now that you're older as well, is that you can't just be eating willy-nilly. And like your taste buds change. I used to be able to like inhale sweet things. And now I'm more sweet adverse. I like savory things more than sweet. So it just comes with time. And it's just one of those things where I want to be able to maintain this body, because I want to be one of those adults that when we're hitting our 60s and 70s, like
we're healthy.
Yeah,
still able to walk.
Yeah, unassisted and
live our lives, do our hobbies.
Right, because you know how they do in our society, we do older people very dirty.
Yes.
We do them very dirty. The moment that they're not able to drive, you pretty much keep them at home.
Yep.
And then like at that point, they're not really going anywhere. So their muscles.
Cognitive decline.
And then they're just sitting.
Yep.
Doing nothing, just being sad. Mm-hmm. And that's not what I want for myself. Like I want to be able to go until the wheels fall off.
Wheels fall off.
Right. And that's why that's what I have to keep telling myself to get me to do this stuff. It's again, preparing for that stranger that I don't even know. But I know that when I get to those stages, when I hit 30, when I hit 40, I'm going to look back and be like, thank you, Cindy, who was 20. Thank you, Cindy, who was 30, for being mindful of me in the future.
Yes.
Like, it's something I'm going to be thankful for. And it's not like I'm doing anything out of pocket. It's not like
we're not being ridiculous.
No.
We're running 20 miles a day. We're not doing anything crazy. We're doing stuff that we should have been doing our whole lives. It's just in America, they don't really tell you the things that you're supposed to do, and it's not common to do the things that are actually healthy for you.
Yeah.
And so I think part of our glowing up is actually taking care of ourselves, trying to be healthy, trying to live our lives to the fullest.
Right.
Because we know we're here for a limited time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked a little bit about we talked about health, right? We talked a little bit about lifestyle. And honestly, we have enough podcast episodes already about finance. I don't want to talk about
finance and hobbies, honestly.
Truthfully. But I feel like we've been with this podcast, it's been also really helping us lay the foundation of that.
Yeah.
Because that was the whole point, right? We wanted to start this to have conversations about we're reaching the end of our 20s. We're about to get into our 30s. It's a big milestone. What are things that we want to talk about and get off our chest? And then also just talk about life in general, because this is going to continue past when we're 30.
Yep.
So it's just like, what is life looking like for people who are our age, for us in general, and where do we want to take ourselves and where do we want to go? So I'm proud of us.
Hey, we're making strides.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Because this podcast is a glow up, girl. This podcast is a glow up already.
Right.
Because this was just a concept back then. And now that we've actually done it, executed it, and we're leveling up.
We're filming.
Every season we level
up.
I
bought a mic.
You bought a mic.
See, if anybody goes back to season 1 and they hear how grainy I am.
I mean, season 1. We don't talk about her.
Hey, but there was pretty good. It was good content. Yeah. But
good starting point. But
she was a struggle bus.
We're going to keep leveling up. And, I just can't wait until we are 30 to look back and be like, thank you.
Yeah.
You guys are those girls.
Right. I actually have always wanted to do one of those things, the archives to yourself or the messages to your future self.
Or like writing a letter to yourself.
Writing a letter. Or honestly, I've seen people record a video, but these podcasts,
Then we're going to go back and watch this.
But these podcasts, that's what this is.
Yeah.
Right? Because even with the episodes that we've recorded, it's so funny how quickly you can forget the conversations that you have.
Absolutely.
Because I've gone back and recorded season 1. I've recorded episodes in season 2, and I'll look back on them and be like, when was this stuff? I didn't realize I said that. I'm like, Cindy of the past, you knew all this information? Because Cindy of the now does not know where you pulled that from. So I'm really excited to when we get to our when we get to 30 to go and look back at our very first episodes where we talk about hobbies. Right?
Yeah.
We started the series with me not having any hobbies, and now this is my consistent hobby.
Have a hobby?
Yeah.
I have like 30,000.
Right. You need to work on like finishing your. You always start get halfway. You can fully commit. You fully commit.
I'm committed.
You fully
I'm
commit.
committed.
Yeah.
I just got a lot of hobbies.
What is it? It's what is it? Master. What is it? It's the master of none quote. Oh, I forget.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't remember it though.
It's gonna kill me.
Oh, you know,
It's gonna kill me.
editing Chanel if you're not lazy.
Oh my gosh, this is gonna make me so
God.
angry. Something of many, master of none.
Yeah. It's like the jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Like being a master of all is worse or better than being, I don't know.
It's
Master of none.
It's not necessarily worse or better. It's just saying that you're able to do so many things.
Yeah.
But you're not a master at any of them. You're
Yep.
just able to do all of them. And that's where I see your hobbies. You can do so many things. And you do it to the point where you can do it enough to get by.
Yeah.
And then once you can get by, you move on to something else.
What have I moved on from?
When was the last time you sewed?
Oh, I still need to sew. That's one thing.
Okay, what about that drawing course that you were supposed to do?
That's another thing. I don't like you reading me. But here's the thing. Sewing is just on pause because I don't have room for that. Mm-hmm. The drawing, you got me there.
You got me there, I won't lie. And then what are you about to start?
What am I about to start?
Acting?
Oh, shoot. That one, we're going to do it.
That one, you've talked about it, but I'm just saying.
You see, I think my only consistent hobbies are piano,
Yes.
ballet.
Mm-hmm.
I do that consistently.
Yes.
What else? Reading.
Yeah.
That's consistent. I feel like those three.
Right. And you're getting back into movies because you used to
that's
watch a
true.
lot of
I used
movies
to
and you're
watch
getting
a
back
lot
into
of
movies. I'm just giving you a hard time.
You give me a hard time.
It's just funny because you know.
I was like, what you got, girl?
It was like pow, pow, pow.
Pow, pow.
All shots
You
hit.
see,
Mm-hmm.
we need to get you on your hobbies. You.
Hey,
We need to.
they're coming though. The podcast,
The podcast,
reading,
reading,
and I'm getting into movies and TV shows.
movies. Period.
Right?
And then we'll sew one day.
I still have the sewing machine. I still have the fabric.
The problem is we're always working on this hobby.
Yeah. I think the thing is as well, I need one. I know we said that we were going to talk about hobbies, but somehow we always get into hobbies. But one of the things that I wanted to do is find a hobby that I can do on my own, because all of my hobbies are connected to somebody else. We podcast together.
Mm-hmm.
We sewing. I'm waiting on you or Maddie to teach me how to sew.
Yep.
Reading. I'm in a book club. I will say, movies is something that I'm kind of claiming as my own, because I don't go to the movies I go to the movies by myself. Mm-hmm. It's just that we both like to go to movies, so we like to watch the same movies and talk about it.
Yep.
But we haven't really outside of our bonus series that we're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to our
Hint,
bonus
hint, wink,
series,
wink.
everybody. Coming soon.
Coming soon.
Outside of that, I've told you, like, I got that pass. Now I will try to go and see movies as often as I can, and I've built up I've gotten my movie theater popcorn craving back. So now I go to the theater just to get the theater. I go to the theater just to get popcorn. Mm-hmm. So I think that's something that I would like to work on, is just having my own hobbies and just being more content doing things alone.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really I have friends here, but like a lot of the community that I built past have not been here, and I'm still building a new one. Mm-hmm. So there are times that I do things on my own, but I think I really need to start doing hobbies. Yeah. And have a hobby that I do for myself.
Yes.
So we'll see.
Health, wealth, lifestyle, hobby.
Woo!
And we're glowing up on all of them.
We are glowing up. I truthfully, we need to redo this episode.
Yeah.
When we, like, 2027, after we're both 30, after we both turn 30, and after we've gone to Japan, we need to do this. It's like Use It or Lose It part dos.
Mm-hmm. And we'll see.
Here's the thing. We're both unhinged.
Yes.
That we're going to do it.
That's true.
It may not be to the extent that we hoped it was going to be.
But at least we're on the train then.
Yeah, something is going to get done.
Yep. And that's on period.
That's on per. Was there anything else that we wanted to talk about?
I think that's it. You got to use it.
Or lose it.
Period.
Yes. Anyway, it's always nice talking to you, Chanel.
Of course, I'm the best.
Anyway, goodbye.
Is someone knocking on my door? Hello? Open the door. Open the door. I'm filming a podcast right now. Goodbye.
Bye.
You want to say hi to the podcast?
No, thank you.
Okay, bye.